Yes. Welcome, everyone. If you're watching this live, that of course means it's Wednesday at noon Eastern Time. It is time for the High Noon Hemp Show. If you're keeping track at home, it is High Noon Hemp Show number 318. If you can believe that, of course, you can find us in many places. We're on the Temptations Beach Facebook page. We're also on the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel. And if you're on the X or the Twitter, whatever you call it, follow at Temptations on there. I'm, of course, Stoner Jesus. I do various things on the interwebs that you can search if you have the Bing or the AOL or the Netscape. See what I'm up to. He is Beach. He's high above the brand new Temptations location, and he loves hemp, and he's right there. Beach, how are things this week in the world of Temptations?
It is true. I am high above the Temptations/Flower Factory location. Um, well, not so great here in Ohio, which I'm going to get to in just a second, actually. Um, and remember, folks, the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy. Stone, you know what today is.
Oh, Lord. I fear we would skip it this week, but no, I do not know what today is. Beach, what is today?
Help Day. Welcome, everybody. That's right. It's the High Noon Hemp Show. It's Hemp Day.
That's right.
Of course, it's Hemp Day every day for me, as well as should be for everyone. But let's go ahead and do our pledge, because I pledge allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil in which it is planted. One seed under the sun with responsibility, sustainability, and thrivability for all. All right, well, let's get right into the breaking news. Old Governor DeSwine this morning signed an executive order in Ohio banning hemp, basically, making hemp illegal in the state. I don't care if it's about what they call intoxicating hemp, which is like the most vague description ever. Like, what are they actually banning? I haven't even. I have the wordage. I haven't read it. Here's why. There's two reasons why I'm not going to read it. Probably, um, it's immediately going to get challenged. Bans do not work. Prohibition does not work. The governor is trying to redefine what industrial hemp is, and he does not have the authority to do that. The hemp in the state of Ohio is defined under the federal laws because we no longer have a division of hemp at our Department of Agriculture. We are basically going back under the federal guidelines for hemp, which clearly state everything as a byproduct is 100% legal. So by banning part of the legal hemp plant, you're banning all of the legal hemp plant. And you don't have the authority you don't have the legal authority to do that. I almost want to blame myself because last week on the show, I talked about the three bills that are, that are in the House, and all of them end with you having to go to a dispensary to buy your hemp, which also was not going to. None of those bills were going to hold up if passed. Maybe DeSwine got word of that and just said, "Well, let's just pass an executive order," which is not going to. It's not going to hold up. It's going to immediately get challenged, and it will not, should not hold up in the courts. So we'll see how it all plays out. Um, we'll still have our hemp here for sale, largest selection of hemp on the planet, regardless of DeSwine trying to destroy the industrial hemp market, even worse than the farming was in Ohio to begin with. Now we're talking about retail shops and businesses all over the state that are going to have to close doors. And this reminds me a lot of, I think it's Alabama right now, They tried to wrangle in this market, and in the sense of trying to wrangle it in, now shops are being forced to close because they can't operate. And so prohibition does not work. We figured that out. All this ban is going to do immediately, once these products aren't on the shelves anymore, and again, it can't go into effect immediately. There has to be a certain amount of time, I'm pretty sure, before even the executive order can be valid. And so, um, in that time period, it will get challenged. But let's say it does go through, and all of a sudden in 30 days, we can't legally sell these products anymore. Well, good job, DeSwine. You just sent everybody that was legally buying these products at local businesses and supporting local businesses to the internet. And so you're going to get you're you're not affecting the market, and you're not affecting who's going to get these things. You're only affecting the bottom line of businesses all over the state of Ohio. And it's just so, it's government overreach, and it's quite ridiculous. It's morally based, and I challenge Governor DeSwine to bring to the table any evidence that any of these things that he's banning in this executive order to be dangerous or unsafe to adults to begin with. And I'll follow that challenge up with proving that they're unsafe for children. Do we sell to children? No, of course we don't. That's why if they want to pass an age restriction, then pass an age restriction. Yeah, and again, they're trying to do that now. And again, 21 and a license, I'm okay with that. To keep track of the market, whatever. Here in Ohio, they're trying to do 21 and put it all in the dispensaries. Can't do that. You just can't do that. You just legally can't do it. Ethically, it's wrong. Making it 21, even if they want to pass some stupid packaging restrictions, again, I'm willing to put all of my products in a brown bag and then just sell them in brown bags. Because, to be honest with you, that's what they can determine any package as being, and so, I get that. Anybody that's selling illegal marijuana products is going to get raided. Again, that's, anybody can do that too, to be honest with you. And so, if you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law. But that doesn't mean that they should be able to change the law so to actually ban state prohibition. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because now you're once again going back to a black market, or you're going to the internet to get if you want to. Really, what this is doing, and this is just shows once again how even old fucking DeSwine might be in the fucking marijuana pockets. And I don't cuss a lot, so you know how upset I am about that on the show. I cuss a lot, but not on the show. So that just slipped because this is how aggravating this is to me, because once again, this is just protecting the marijuana businesses and the dispensaries. And they've already got enough business. They need to stop attacking hemp because they're mad because hemp is legal. And technically, marijuana is not legal. So, again, you're just trying to boost more money. And I did see one of the bills actually had a tax increase on these products too, which, again, that's fine because that's what they want when they put it in and make it only in the dispensaries. Because guess what? If you have to go to the dispensary to buy it, you're paying a 15 to 20 or 25% tax or whatever the ridiculous tax is in Ohio. So once again, they're making even more money on it with their prohibition to the public. And again, yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me. Again, the states that are enacting these taxes, once again, our legalization tax, so to speak, was in our bill, and it was high because that helped pass it. And so it's quite ridiculous. I mean, it's bad enough that you have to pay 7.5% over the counter in Ohio for these products because that's the sales tax and say Temptations. But then, yeah, if you go to the dispensary in Ohio, you're paying an unbelievable amount of taxes. And of course, will the dispensaries in Ohio now, if this happens, only the dispensaries in Ohio can only sell Ohio products. Now that might work out for me in a sense because maybe I can become a licensed hemp maker. But guess what? That's going to cost me a bunch of money for that too.
Yeah.
Just so I can sell my legal hemp that's only available in the dispensaries in Ohio if these bills pass. This executive order bans. It's a ban. That's why it's not going to hold up. And, it's just once again 100% government overreach. And for more than one reason. DeSwine is never liked cannabis. Right out of the gate, he has never been pro-cannabis on any level. And then, two, once again, now he's protecting the marijuana cannabis industry and banning hemp, which is legal federally. All in the same breath of T-Rump coming out and saying that getting Medicare approved for the elderly CBD, getting CBD approved through Medicare, being able to pay for your CBD, your hemp with Medicare would be the elderly medical move of the century. And now you have Ohio banning hemp. What's it going to be? Is it great or is it evil? And that's how out of touch DeSwine is. That's honestly how out of touch he is in the state of Ohio and nationally, federally. That's not on path with old 47's statement that he made just a week ago. That's not on path. Pure and simple. Ah, man. Well, I've said all I can. We can get out there. I do know that there's already paperwork in motion that'll probably get filed tomorrow. That should put a stay on it, and then eventually the courts will find that this is not a legal executive order, and we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. So, on a positive note, last week I did my hemp keynote to the marijuana class at UC, and I'm gonna be unhumble here for a little while, only because I love and she Bonnie always sends out what was the most interesting thing that you found about the speaker, and then what was something that they could have done better, which I love because I'm always willing to do better if I can. So I'm just going to read a couple of these just for fun. Wow, this inspiration was incredible. I learned so much and am excited to do some additional research because this presentation definitely sparked an interest in learning more. Wonderful presenter, wonderful presentation. I enjoyed all of the information shared today. Oh, that's so nice. Uh, oops. I really enjoyed all the different uses of hemp he presented. I enjoyed learning about how you can eat hemp and all the medical benefits around it. I was not aware it was so rich in protein and overall so good for you. So many people aren't. It's insane how we don't know how good of a food this is. Um, you know, let's see what else we got. Um, Everything. That was the answer. Everything. This presentation was packed with useful information. It's crazy how many uses can come up with hemp. It's truly a super plant. I'd love to see more industrial use of hemp. I was very shocked at how big pushback of hemp usage is in the marijuana industry. It's a huge, again, marijuana versus hemp right now is the most ridiculous battle going on ever.
Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous. And again, it's all marijuana. It's all marijuana attacking hemp. Again, can't we just all get along? Cannabis, we can all get along. I thought the presentation was great. Lots of wonderful and helpful information. He did great as our speaker. Very interesting. Now, what I really loved was um, what aspects of the presentation could be improved. And most of them said nothing. Not much, maybe more imaginary. I don't know what that really means. I'm pretty spirited and imaginary. Again, what am I imagining? But I think that the biggest complaint that I got that my visuals were small. So I think when I do my pictures, some reason they don't come out very big on their screen. But that was literally the biggest complaint that I got, except for, and I love this one. I think it was a little long.
No.
And I went the exact amount of time that I'm given every time, which is an hour and a half.
If you only knew.
It's like,
How long you go?
yeah, right? If they only knew, I had to stop myself. I will have to say that I do have that presentation pretty close to almost exactly an hour and a half now. If someone asked me if they wanted me to speak and do my full knowledge, I would say that if I do it with this hour and a half, I'm good. And then I can go another hour and a half answering questions if I need to.
Yeah.
This class didn't have a whole lot of questions, which once again I feel like is a testament to my presentation, because I address it all. I address it all pretty much. That's the general knowledge that I have of hemp, and it's the general knowledge that I pass on in my sleep now. All right. Well, let's get on with the show. How about some products on the product spotlight here on the High Noon Hemp Show? How about a Greenfields Paper Company Eco Resume Kit? And I'm gonna try to get these online too. When you're going for a job at what is an eco-friendly business, how impressive would this be?
Right.
Honestly, to walk in there and be like, "This is how eco I am." And I'm sure that most people would print their resumes on hopefully recycled paper and whatnot when they do that. But this gives you, I think, everything. For the whole shebang. Either way, which it would be to me quite impressive. Someone walked in here wanting a job and they handed me a hemp resume.
Right.
Very cool. How about some legalized potbelly pigs sling bags? Yes, that's the name of the company. Legalized potbelly pigs. I'm gonna have to check to see if they're still out there. But they also make very cool little pipe lighter holders, one-y pipe lighter holders. I have shown them on the show before. But these are basically, like I would call these. It's a sling bag, and I would almost call it like a messenger bag type of dealio. But they're decent size. You can get quite a bit of stuff in there. either way. Wicked boots. I got all the boots out. We have black, we have some green. These are men's. They range, again, range anywhere from like 6.5 to 11. I think I even have a pair of high tops, maybe, or low tops. I'm not sure, that are 13s. So decent amount of shoes. Ladies, if you don't know, and again, I consider all of everything that I sell to be unisex. They may be men's sizes, but ladies, if you don't know, I think most ladies do. If you add a size and a half to the men's size, that's your size. So if you wear I believe a women's size 8, you would wear a men's size 6.5, which we have, and that's how that conversion goes. So we can even, again, I consider all the hemp clothing, all this stuff. It's all unisex. I have never believed that clothing should have a sex to begin with. It seems so absurd, you know. But anyway, we got to size them somehow.
Yeah.
And I will have to say, in all my experience, that men's sizing is a lot more consistent than women's sizing. And that, I'm not. It's not a judgment thing. I've just noticed that. All right, and then we got the cold weather's coming, folks. So how about some Planet Everywhere? I don't know if they're like earmuff bands, I guess I would call them. Some of them, but there's only maybe one or two in there, but most of these are thick. Meant to go over your ears, keep your ears warm, and and again, man, it is going to start getting cold. I almost wore jeans today. I almost did. I might have to wear jeans tomorrow from what I'm seeing with the weather report. But anyway, more pants to come on the High Noon Hemp Show. What are you wearing beach segment soon, I predict. So anyway, there you have it. 4 from the store. Now the one from my door, I was just talking about Hemp Nut and Richard Rose. Again, Richard Rose, we probably may not have the hemp food market that we even have in the United States if it had not been for Hemp Nut and Richard Rose, uh, whatnot. And so I came across this. I can't, it just so happened. It's so weird, actually, how these things happen, because I've been talking a lot about hemp nut recently, and talking about my jar of hemp nut that I still have, my can. Not, it's empty. I think I have nails in it now, possibly, but it's in great shape. But then I find this book, cookbook and recipes, and I'd like to get permission from Richard Rose to start including or posting the recipes, because the back of the book is full of recipes. And that was what I was starting answering. One of the questions I did get when I was doing my hemp presentation was, how can I eat more hemp? What can I make with hemp? What can I do? And I'm like, it's pretty much endless, honestly. And I talked about a lot of things. And I actually, today on the show, in the news, I'll be showing a couple of hemp cheese recipes, which I talked about recently. But the half of this book is full of hemp food recipes. This book is 30 years old.
Wow.
25 years old. And again, full of hemp recipes. Richard Rose was the hemp food pioneer. He gets 100% full credit. 100% full credit for starting the hemp food industries in the United States. Or maybe not starting, but he did start it. I think he did, honestly. If it hadn't been, I think, for what he was doing at the time, we wouldn't have had to sue the DEA shortly after. Again, this is before we had to sue the DEA. He brought hemp foods to market in the early '90s, if I remember correctly. When we opened, hemp nut was a choice. It was the only choice. There was another company that was roasting hemp seeds, and and so there were very very little out there. But uh, no more did more work, obviously, than Richard. Uh, so now you'd be like, now I thought all of these are supposed to be, hemp cheese. I will get those recipes. I have 2 recipes coming up in the show. Um, uh, you're like, well, but I thought all the products from U Beach were actually made of hemp or had hemp in them. Well, guess what? The cover in the back of this book is 25% hemp, 75% recycled. So this is part of the largest hemp collection by a single human on the planet, which is me. Just one of the records that we talk about here on the High Noon Hemp Show. This goes into my hemp book category, and I have other hemp books. Kentucky Hemp Fields is fictional books, early 1900s. I have a first edition printed on hemp, or no, I have a signed edition printed on hemp. Doug Fine's book, his second book, which is like magazine size, still book, was printed on hemp. I have a copy of that somewhere. I have my Leaves of Grass that I've shown on the show that is actually bound in hemp as well, hemp fiber, and then the book slides into a hemp box, basically, hemp fiber box. So this is just part of the hemp collection. Again, I'm going to be getting this information out there. I am seriously considering starting a reading cannabis. Reading Rainbow is back, and I love it. Reading Rainbow is awesome. So I'm thinking about starting reading cannabis. Maybe once a week I will read from one of my many cannabis-related books or magazines about cannabis. So, we'll see how far I get with that too. I have all these other projects in the works. I need to get on them. Keep me motivated, people. Hemp keeps me motivated. What am I talking about? Hemp is all the motivation I need to do the things that I do every single day. All right, that being said, we talked about it earlier. We're bringing it up again because it's part of every show.
That's right. As of course, Beach made reference to the many hemp records that he has set and holds. And you're asking yourself, well, where can I find that in the Guinness World Records? Well, you won't, because they don't care. They just don't care. They apparently have a specific policy where the cannabis or hemp records, they just ignore them completely. So it's become sort of a tradition here on the show to see what they are focused on, because they have all this time. They're not worried about cannabis or hemp. They have this time to go find the important records, the important things that people are doing in this world to make it a better place, or to bring awareness to something, or anything like that. So if you go to the Guinness World Records Twitter or X account today, you say, well, what important stuff are they focused on today? Well, let's see. It's this guy. He used to be Lawrence Watkins from New Zealand, but he changed his name in 1990. His official name now includes 2,253 words, and he now holds the record for the longest personal name, which you can see right in their picture. He's holding on a very long scroll or whatnot. And that is what the Guinness World Records cares about. Hemp is stupid. This guy, he's brilliant, and his name is over 2,200 words long. Why? I have no idea. I cannot possibly think of a reason other than to have the record why you would do this. But there's this guy. Used to be Lawrence Watkins, not anymore. I don't know if they call it now. I hope there's something that's like shortens it, like Bob or something.
He takes the first letter of all those names and then smashes that together, and then you got to call him that.
So thank you, Guinness World Records, for really, excuse me, bringing us the important things. Now we will focus on what is apparently less important, which is Beach's massive hemp collection, specifically in this segment, the hemp clothing collection, the beachwear segment. All I have to do is ask Beach one question, and he'll tell me all about it. And we do it every week. When I ask, what are you wearing, Beach?
It's true. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you'll know here on the High Noon Hemp Show. Right. On top there, that is a Mary Jane's Hemp Harvest hat. That's kind of a rare hat. I don't know if Mary Jane's is still open in Albuquerque. I've had this hat for 15, 20 years, maybe. I don't know, 15 years at least. But I just, it's good name, good cool hat. Then I'm wearing one of my Hemp Equals Jobs shirts on. That's an Ono T-shirt. You can find those at Enviro Textiles. Again, one of the few long standing hemp material fiber clothing makers in the United States. My shorts are I&I cargo shorts. These are kind of some of my favorite shorts that I have, actually. You can see in my pocket there my Green Springs Technology pen. Underneath it all, a pair of Satori briefs. My question mark no-shows, I forget where. I know I got them on Amazon, but I forget the name of the company. I have to go back and find that. And then a good old pair of Adidas. I will have to say, now that you've seen the Adidas, I messed up my Adidas, different pair of Adidas record that I started. So I'm going to probably start that again and document it maybe a little bit better next time I start a record. I may go ahead and document it a little bit better. So I'll get back on track with that. And so there you have it. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know. It's true. All right. Well, I randomly picked one of the old trailers that I made. So here it is, and we'll be back with some news.
I get you pumped. I don't know what will.
Bam, bam, boom. I think instead of calling them trailers from now on, I think I'm going to call them like Temptations history documentaries. Because they really are a documentary of a lot of history, a lot of the stores and all those things now. Of course, we only have the one location, so don't pay any attention to that if you don't know. The one location inside the flower factory, screening across the bottom of the screen as I talk about it now.
Right.
And then, of course, I have been trying to get as much stuff, and I'm still every day listing more stuff on eBay. And that's at the ERB Son of Ma eBay site. And I think you can probably even punch in Hemptations, because I put Hemptations in the title of every eBay auction. So that might bring it up, and then you can find me as a seller and go check out all the hemp stuff that I have, as well as the smokables, because we also sell our smokables so on the eBay when I can, and they don't take it. It's okay to sell like water pipes and bongs. I can even list things as bongs, which is crazy on eBay.
Yeah.
But anything related to like dabs or concentrates or any of that, you got to be like super careful on the wording, and they still somehow figure it out. And anyway, is what it is. If you're looking for any of that stuff, once again, check us out on eBay. All right. So, who knew that smoking roses and hemp is a thing? But sure enough, it is. Now, when I say smoking roses, I think, what a great band name. I mean, it's just so random, Smoking Roses. But I feel like that's a great band name. So if you're a band out there and you need a name, Smoking Roses might be it. But anyway, so um, and I quote from the article: hemp already offers grounding and relaxation. Roses bring openness and sensuality. The earthy depth of hemp meets the floral brightness of roses, a natural harmony. Isn't that what we're all looking for? Natural harmony. I know that's what I'm looking for. And so it's kind of interesting. And now, apparently, smoking roses was a big thing in history in certain places at certain points, I guess. And I guess I don't know if it just fell out or, smoking other things that maybe were more powerful um, became the fan. Because, maybe just like CBD, maybe the therapeutic value that you get out of smoking roses doesn't give you high. So I think there are probably more plants that we may find smoking them gives us therapeutic value and doesn't get us high. And that's, you know, um, I still believe, and again, I'm not promoting the idea of smoking because I know that our lungs were not meant to take in smoke, period. Now, is smoking cannabis harmful? Medically speaking, there's no science that says it is. And I do think that we will always, we will always smoke the flower because it's the only way to get every part of the plant inside us. It's the only way. Terpenes, esters, all the components. There's so many components that again, it's the only way to get all of that, and all that combination of things works to get the best benefits. And that's no different when I'm talking about THC than I am when I'm talking about CBD or CBG or CBN flower, which we can boost those numbers so we can get the benefits that we want. And if you have a 16% CBD flower, 1 gram has 160 milligrams of CBD. So again, that's you smoke 1 gram of flower. That's a lot of CBD, and it's definitely going to be beneficial. There's no doubt in my mind that it's the best way to get the CBD into you in larger amounts and get the benefit of all those other ingredients that are in the flower, so to speak. It just only makes sense. So now we're going to start experimenting just like this with the roses thing. What else? What else is in say, a flower that we can smoke that would be therapeutically beneficial. I mean, St. John's wort, and I do believe that if I remember correctly, when we had various herbal blends, and it used to be a big thing, because to be honest with you, I hated saying that all our products were tobacco products, which is something that we had to do for 20 years because that's what made it legal. But what we ended up doing was filling the shelves with herbal smoke, legal herbal smokes. And so, we got away with calling them tobacco products, and we just, would say, hey, yeah, these are for herbal blends. We have herbal blends. There was a minute there where we would give you an herbal blend, little tiny Ziploc of some herbal blend with your water pipe or whatever, so that we weren't actually selling you a tobacco product. Because, when I quit smoking, which would have been 2000, I didn't become anti-tobacco, but I didn't, I didn't revel in, we were still selling American Spirit cigarettes. I didn't stop selling tobacco. I didn't stop selling tobacco 100% until probably 5 years ago, when Hamilton County enacted if you sold tobacco in any form, you had to buy a special $500 license. At that point, we had so little tobacco products that I just said, I'm not going to sell anything. We have zero. I think we had some shisha at the time or whatever. But then we went to herbal shisha. And so there are plenty of things that we can smoke, and again, that don't give us a buzz, that we may still get that, just like that CBD fire, that we may get that therapeutic value out of. Sorry I missed that last statement. If you want to put it back up there again, I'll try to get it if you need something. Sorry. I can't read those real well when they pop up, so it's tough on me sometimes. Yeah. Again, I think that it's something that I think that we used to do as a culture or a society probably a lot more. But once again, as we started finding more things to smoke, Rose actually has a lot of really good, a lot more than just being flowers for. And I think that's why roses still exist as Valentine's flower. But the history of the rose and whatnot, and I feel like I know that rose incense existed, like from roses, like you make rose incense from roses. And so I mean, there are a lot of flowers of other plants that I know we can smoke. Mullein is one, and I know mullein is kind of like valerian, and I think we can actually smoke valerian too, where those are better for, say, a sleep aid or something, where they're gonna be very calming. But yeah, I think that we're probably going to go, because again, we're never going to stop smoking cannabis. We're not, until they can. And they will never be able to synthetically replicate every one of those things. Um, and so now we get the full spectrum oil. It's got all the little things that were in there in it too. But anyway. And so I think that, finding therapeutic value in a lot of flowers, just like, again, the CBD thing, I don't want the buzz. I don't need the buzz. A lot of people don't want the buzz. They want the therapeutic value. Um, I don't use cannabis, high THC cannabis, for the buzz to get high. I use it for the therapeutic value that it has always given me for most of my life. And that is calming my stomach, which is where I carry my stress, and calming my brain, which never freaking turns off. And if I don't calm it, with cannabis. I run around like I don't know what, a rat in a cage with one ball and can't stop playing with it. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. But that's why I love research. That's why I love this show. That's why I love doing research on any topic. I'm watching this new show, and it's all about this. He talks about at some point in his life, he's so research oriented that he became an expert on this one sloth in the world and went and researched the sloth. And he's a fictional character, but it made sense to me. It's like, I get that. You give me a subject, and I'll go learn as much as I can about it. And so that's why I use cannabis, period, therapeutically. That's why I use CBD therapeutically, flower, in whatever the form, for the same reasons. Um, so, anyway, we'll see. We'll have some Smoking Roses blend maybe soon. Some CBD Smoking Roses pre rolls. I don't know. We'll see what we can come up with. And then maybe look, like I said, look into some other stuff. Like I really think we could do it. Where there's no doubt in my mind we could do a pre-roll that would be great to smoke before you went to bed, because I know that, like I said, of other herbs that we can smoke that help with that. You know, now we have to find some other herbs that we can smoke that maybe help with focus and alertness, and that can be the daytime. I don't, it's all still so very new, folks. Even though it's ancient, we've been doing this for a long time. It's also very new. Again, I shouldn't say it's new. I should just say it's endless. Honestly, it's endless what we can learn and how we can use this plant. Period. Speaking of that, how about a hemp wood bow? Look at the beauty of this thing. If you like to shoot an arrow or two, well, that's not it.
That is not it.
But if that's a little teaser on a little hempcrete building.
I didn't get that picture.
You didn't get it? I didn't send it? Oh, how ridiculous. Well, I'll have to make sure I get it over next week. Maybe I forgot to click on it. But it's a beautiful hemp wood compound bow, actually. Very, very nice. All right. So I have to remember to get that on the show next week. Sorry about that, folks. We are finding, and again, this is part of that endless knowledge of cannabis. Another cannabinoid identified as cannabidiol, which they are calling CBGD. I don't know why it's not CBGZ, since it's Zetol. But it's what they call a rare diameric cannabinoid. There are only 4 of these that we have found so far in cannabis. And these type of cannabinoids are formed when 2 cannabinoids bind with a methylene bridge. Do I know what that means? I have no idea. All right. But it only happens in 4 of these cannabinoids that this happens. Now, what they did find is that CBGD was found to exhibit remarkable antioxidant and skin anti-inflammatory activity. And so they mentioned that more dermatology studies to come, I suppose. But, this is just more proof that every part, once again, every part, when we the CBD and the cream and the happiness cream are one of our highest selling products. That CBD and that happiness cream. If it's isolated, it's just CBD. Then once again, we're leaving out that CBGD that may be in that flower that obviously has even more benefits. And again, I'm not a huge proponent of saying things like anti-aging products, but I truly believe that the happiness cream is just that. If you use something for anti-aging, there's no doubt in my mind that that happiness cream, not only can you put it on your sore back, rub it into your sore arthritic hands, put a little on your face. Okay, because here's the thing: all those anti-aging products are anti-inflammatories, and they're happy to tell you that for the most part. And we already know how well CBD works for that. So, and here's more proof that more of the things that are in cannabis are just well, there it is.
My good friend Seth Kitten and my co-host for many of my shows found this and
Nice.
got it to us, and there it is.
Well, thank you very much for that. There it is. There's
Thank you, Seth.
the hemp bow. Do appreciate it. Again, this is made from hemp wood. Hemp wood is made in Kentucky at the hemp wood plant. Now, what I can maybe it had to have been done on a lathe. I don't know, or they carved it. I don't know, but this all started as a block of wood, just like every bow did. Whether it was however long ago that the bow was invented. And what I find interesting about the bow is I do believe that it was actually invented by different cultures at different times in the world. And so, that's the human brain for you, I guess. But what a beautiful piece of wood. If you are, like I said, an archer.
Seth, you found it for us. Thank you, Seth.
Add that. Thank you, Seth. If you are an archer, we'll have to see about that. I think it was a one-off. I don't think it's a company that's making these. But I'm sure for the right price, you might be able to get one made for yourself, or work on it for yourself as a project. I don't know. But anyway, pretty darn cool. Once again, just proving that hemp wood can do the things that wood has done in the past quite easily. And so, anyway, there you have it. I was pretty much done there with the CBGD. I am going to talk more about stuff on that same lines here in a minute. But again, it's just more evidence that we need everything. We need everything in this flower. We need everything. And there are some things that we can throw in certain directions to make it even better. Now, if we can just figure out how to boost the CBGD percentages instead of having to make it synthetically, which is okay, folks, because when they make a synthetic hemp product, it's made out of hemp. Synthetic is not always bad.
Nice.
Hello. Welcome. So here is the teaser just a minute ago. Here's the building that popped up. This is an apartment building being built in France, and this is actually being built with hemp block, which is something that's becoming very popular in France, is using hemp block to build with. So, everything about this architecturally, looking at it being built, tells me that they're using this hemp block as load bearing. I don't know for sure. I can't tell. I have no idea. But it really looks to me like they are just using the hemp block to build the building. I don't know how they could rebarb. And maybe they're building the hemp block around the actual frame of the building, the structural frame. In the United States, we cannot use hempcrete material for load bearing. But if the French have figured out and trust, and they definitely trust, this is not the first hemp block building. I mean, I think the first one that I showed probably on the show, I probably showed 5 years ago. And it was a public space where they were using hemp block to build with. Hempcrete is nothing new to the French. They now revel in the fact of how well that insulation that it works as a building material and really kind of focus more on it because of that. The energy saving of using hempcrete in the buildings is proven in France. And so that's why these buildings more and more are getting built. We're still trying in the United States, but the biggest uphill battle in the United States is the competition. And the concrete industry is not going to give way to the hempcrete industry very easily, even though it's an ignorant business move on their part. But the fact of the matter is, and this is why this is an opportunity in the United States for um, anyone to become a large scale construction, to get into large scale construction using Crete. When if you tried now, it's very difficult because the market is controlled and has been controlled by nefarious organizations, for that matter.
Yeah.
That's just the history of it. I'm not saying that's how it is now. I'm just saying that's the history of it.
Definitely.
And they sure as hell don't want a bunch of peace-loving hippies, long-haired hippies,
Dirty hippies.
dirty hippies, making money in their industry, building environmentally and human-friendly homes. But it's not going to stop us. And eventually, 10, 20 years from now, we're going to see all these large-scale concrete companies in the United States getting in on it. Again, the one thing that socialism gets you, and there's no doubt in my mind, is better things for society. Here's a huge hempcrete building proving that in France. And then we got Jelly Beans building a tire house. Yeah, you heard me right. Here is Jelly Beans hemp tire house. Just saying, it just looks like a tire, but that is hempcrete. It's round like a tire because you can do hempcrete in any form. But it's always a phenomenon. I don't know who Jelly Beans is. Do you guys know who Jelly Beans is? Anyway, is he somebody like tire famous?
I know Jelly Roll, but that's
Yeah.
clearly famous.
I don't know who Jelly Beans is. Hopefully, he's just somebody in the world that loves tires and goes by Jelly Beans with a Z. Now there is a Facebook page now that was called Jelly Beans Hemp House or hemp Tire House or something. So I don't know. Apparently, he's a famous tire dude. I couldn't tell you, but
I don't know.
Just another, I guess, semi-famous hempcrete house in the world. This one because it looks like a tire.
There you go.
But he's not going to get a Guinness Book World Records for the largest hempcrete tire house.
They don't care.
They don't care. They
No.
don't.
Real quick, my friend Sith found the finished bow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I had a picture of it done with it on there. Yeah. Yes. Very cool. So
bow hunting.
Bow hunting. When I was young, I knew one of the best archers in the state of Ohio. Wow. I mean, like this kid, he was actually a little younger than me. He could sit on his back porch and without even looking, hit a bullseye on a target that was 200 yards away. I mean, it was quite amazing. And he was competition, and he literally was one of the best young archers in the state. But it was before those Hunger Game movies, so it just was not as cool.
Right. Nah.
He was 10 years. He was 10 years too young to be cool for being a great archer. Anyway,
hopefully he kept up with it.
Yeah. So Korean researchers have identified, and this one I know I am definitely probably not going to pronounce correctly. It's cannabiloxacsa. I'm going to spell it just because it's crazy. CANNABIELSOXA. And I don't know if they're going to call it CBX. They didn't actually they didn't actually tell me what they're calling it, like the letters. Like, I don't know. Do the Koreans not know we're supposed to abbreviate these things?
Right. We can't pronounce all that.
Don't they know they can take credit for whatever they want to call the abbreviation if they discovered it? Come on. I'm going to call it CBX just because. Although that sounds like a pharmacy. Um, anyway, um, and not only have they identified this cannabinoid, but they have detected two molecules that are believed to have anti-tumor capabilities. Again, once we start breaking all this down, the science is going to be insane. You know, we're always searching for nature. All these pharmaceutical companies are out there searching for nature so that they can synthetically replicate it and sell you nature in a pill.
Yeah.
These same pharmaceutical companies weren't actually smart enough to not lobby against the legalization of cannabis so that they could do this very thing. They could isolate, they could have isolated, and eventually they probably will figure out how to, once they figure out what these molecules are, they'll figure out whether they can synthetically make them, because that's what they do. They synthetically make, and then that's how they can get their patent and get approved by the FDA, because you cannot patent nature, but you can patent the synthetic replication of nature. See, the beauty of cannabis is we are hundreds of years away, in my opinion, and science may prove me wrong on this, to being able to synthetically replicate cannabis flower, any cannabis flower off of any cannabis plant. It's much like chocolate in the why we cannot synthetically why it has not been done yet to make synthetic chocolate. There's just too many molecules in there. There's too many different ingredients in that flower to synthetically replicate it. Can we synthetically replicate a lot of those? 100%. Which, only scares me in a sense that now I am telling the pharmaceutical companies if they were smart enough to figure out how to synthetically replicate those, then they get a patent for that, and then they have that patent, which is what Marinol. Marinol is a synthetic THC.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have already successfully patented synthetic nature when it comes to cannabis. And the next thing you know that they, and the real question to me there is, does that prevent some other pharmaceutical company from synthetically replicating THC and putting it in their medicine, which now limits the availability of even synthetic THC in pharmaceuticals, where we should be relying on real THC because we have enough of it, and leave them out of it, one way or another. That's the way it should be. But we have seen, and I have reported on other scientific evidence, that particular molecules of the cannabis plant are anti-tumorous, have anti-tumor abilities. And this is more proof of that. Now, it didn't say if it was South or North Koreans,
Oh, that makes a difference.
Which also does, in fact, make a huge difference. I assume it's South Korea, or they probably wouldn't even be telling us.
Yeah, probably.
Because if it's North Korea, we'll never know anything about it. And it will send other scientists across the world, into deeper research. Because again, that's just the deepness of all the molecules, all the things that put up cannabis flower, and what they may or may not do for us. You know. Oh, all right. So we got an article: hemp seeds versus chai seed. Which is better for weight loss? And what I think is funny, here's the hemp benefits and the chai benefits. What they came up with, and then again at the top of the article or whatever, they basically came to the conclusion that they're both great, so use them both. What I think is funny is chai is. I think they were just trying to be nice to the chai seed, because all in all, the chai seed does not compare. It's everything that it's, but like a little bit less than what hemp is, and so it just shows how much hemp beneficial it is. And I think something else that I found in this article that was interesting, um, is that they talked about how chai actually expands in our gut to make us feel more full, which is something that hemp doesn't have to do, because it has all of the nutritional values and things to make you feel full. Um, and so, I mean, yes, if you're really looking to uh, get better weight loss, I suppose, out of this, then combining both hemp and chai. But this is everything. This just backs up again everything that I've always said about hemp seed, um, and being on a good diet, not being on a diet, is if you incorporate it, you are definitely going to be on a better diet to have better weight. It's pretty much proven that hemp seed alone satiates hunger. So when you have a couple spoonfuls of hemp seed in the morning, you will go longer in the day without being hungry. And so, chia, um, ha ha ha, help. Anyway, and so, uh, we know that hemp is, again, if weight has something to do with the diet you're on, and again, you shouldn't be on a specific diet. You should just have a good diet. You should add hemp seed to your diet immediately, um, to help. That's the real lesson here. And obviously, chai or chia, is also great for that. And you can buy that stuff by the packet, and it probably comes with like a. I've got a Homer Simpson chia. I never did grow the hair or grow the chia. Um, anyway, so. All right, I want to congratulate Cannabuzz Drinks. Cannabuzz down in Lexington. Um, crowd favorite. These guys have been, fighting for the legalization of hemp and making their name in the hemp business in Lexington. I look forward to getting the Cannabuzz drinks once again. I really like what they're doing. 5 milligrams of THC, 5 milligrams of CBD. If we can still sell these products in Ohio, um, eh, you know, uh, I think that's the perfect ratio. Really, to get the therapeutic value, or to get something out of it. You're going to feel that little bit of THC maybe, and then that CBD is going to provide you with what CBD does. Um, and so, right on for them. Cannabuzz, I'm pretty sure that's the name of the bar. I'm going to have to do a little more research. I should have known this for sure. In Lexington. And again, they're cannabis drinks. It's not actually a bar with alcohol, so to speak. And at some point or another, when I'm down in Lexington, if I ever make it down there and I'm not working 7 days a week, I will definitely check them out. So, all right, here's those cheese recipes. Cheese, hemp cheese. This first one is the dill. I think that's the dill. Yeah, garlic and dill hemp cheese. So we'll leave this up here for a minute, so you can get a screenshot of it. I keep forgetting to post these recipes on the Facebook page and all over. So I'm gonna try to remember to sit down and do that. Sorry,
write it down.
Yeah, get all that information down and out there for everyone at all points, and then you can just go to there and find it. Either way, so. But I think that again, I'm surprised we haven't seen a or a cheese substitute. I want to call it made from hemp. We can't, I don't know if we can call it. I suppose we can still call it cheese. We haven't seen that lawsuit yet. We can still call it milk, but my understanding is if you want to say you want to put hemp milk, then you actually somehow, and I don't know if this has gone into effect yet, you had to, and this might have only been in one state, you had to put the nutritional value of dairy milk on the hemp milk or whatever packaging. That was it's a big deal to me. Um, that was part of being able to still call something milk. And so I don't know if hemp cheese, if they're going to come up with the same thing, like all of a sudden we have to show you the same nutritional value of dairy cheese with the nutritional value of the hemp cheese on the packaging. But there are people doing the hemp cheese out there. But you can make your own. You can make this one, or you can make this one, which I think this one is kind of like a Velveeta creamy kind of. This one I like because I definitely like, say, a queso, and I definitely think with this recipe, which is once again super easy because you just take all these ingredients and you blend it up and you get a kind of a liquidy cheesy form. But I love queso. Queso's, and again, I don't try to eat a whole lot of dairy. I don't do dairy, although I do love cheese, which is why I really like the idea of someone coming up. I mean, somebody needs to make me some hemp cheddar cheese, and I haven't, I honestly haven't looked into, and that's part of these recipes is, can we make block cheese from hemp milk? Because I really think that would be brilliant. Again, cheddar, all of them. Colby Jack. Again, I do love cheese. I do. Don't eat a lot of cheese, but on occasion, I do love it. And so, and I think I did find. I'll go back and look again. I think I posted something on the show not too long ago. Yeah, I know I did about some block hemp cheese. Now that I'm thinking about it, it does exist because they had a spicy one. Right, now I'm gonna have to go back and. This is why you go back and you watch all the previous episodes of the High Noon Hemp Show, because it's endless. It's endless what you're going to discover, things that I have forgotten about. Not forgotten, just placed in the category in my head. I still come across the picture because I have all the pictures on my phone. So there you got it with the cheese recipes. Okay. Double check on this because I'm not positive that the hemp maze is still open. But if it is in Minnesota, again, they've got the maze plus the 15-hole Canadisc golf course, possibly. Here is a cool hemp building workshop. Now, I have shown the Cosmos Stargazing Resort before, because this is the Cosmos Stargazing Resort is made out of hempcrete. But they're bringing in one of the oldest known, I don't want to, not oldest by age, but oldest because he's been building hempcrete now projects, working on hempcrete projects for 15 years. And what's funny is I can never pronounce Sergi's last name, Kovalykov.
Cool.
What's funny
Sure enough.
is the picture of the hempwood bow that I had to send over. He's holding it because I follow his Facebook page.
Mm.
And so, again, this place is like, I don't know if there's any more cooler of a place to go to learn how to work with hempcrete than the Stargazers. Because you're sleeping in hempcrete, you can see the stars from the hempcrete. And so it's just a super neat location, one way or another. So there you have it. The Halloween party for the medical marijuana meetup group, I believe, is going to be the 28th. I will get everybody more information on that as it comes about. All right. Don't have any questions to address. I have addressed my thoughts. If I have any thoughts, it will be I will revert back to the beginning of the show and go back to my original thoughts that this executive order in Ohio, government overreach, not legal, at the very least, not legal, will get turned over. Call the state house, call the governor's mansion, call the governor's house, call the governor. Tell the governor this is wrong for Ohio. It's wrong for Ohio. It's wrong for Ohioans. It's wrong for Ohio businesses. And it's wrong for Ohio hemp. And hemp in Ohio is already struggling. The farming industry is struggling. There is no real hemp processing in Ohio because it requires an extra fee license, so it's very minimal. This will stop it all. Is Hemptation still going to have the largest selection of hemp on the planet? Yes. Are we going to continue to sell the products that they are banning? It's very probable, because once again, I will personally challenge it. I will personally stand up, as I did when the state of Ohio was trying to say that CBD was illegal in the state of Ohio, however many years ago that was, 7 or so.
Yep.
And every week I came on this show, and every day I told someone CBD is not illegal in the state of Ohio. Come on in and buy it from me. And guess who never showed up that entire time? Anybody. Anybody to take that CBD off the shelf, to write me a ticket, to arrest me. Now this one, I don't know. This one could get me arrested. We'll see what the ban says. We'll see how it goes. But this is what I look forward to if I do get arrested, which is my day in court, where I would be happy. I would be happy to prove to a court that the state of Ohio does not have the authority to reclassify industrial hemp. Only the federal government has that authority now. And where are they? Huh. They're not even working. And maybe that's why he did this. I don't know. He doesn't have anything to do with it. Because when it gets challenged and it gets put in front of the judges and the federal law is looked at, they will say this is not legal. But let them all know in between. Let them all know in between that this is wrong for Ohioans. It's wrong for Ohio businesses. And it's wrong for Ohio hemp. Remember, everybody, not only do I love you, but I'll tell you enough, folks. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having hemptation.
See y'all next week.